Hello, my beautiful ignited souls. Thank you for joining me. I am Crimey Queen, and this is where we ignite our souls with nourishment, and we call it spiritual food rather. And of course, through numerology and references to the Holy Bible. Now, I was curious about how this book could have caused so many different denominations that all claim, of course, that it is still the same, and friction and unity, and yet still, it's like still the same Bible. Of course, we have also known that the Bible has rewritten as well in several versions, and this is for the use of today's language to make it more understandable. But I believe that this King James version of the Holy Bible was actually written and constructed in a mathematical construct. And this mathematical construct now is also the manual that we are living. It is alive, it is live. This book, we are reliving um everything that it has or it contains. It just comes in different packages as though it were a parcel. So I'm really excited about understanding this a little bit more, especially since through the sacrifice template that have been devised, because that's another thing that I felt was very crucial about the book, is that why there's this story of Jesus Christ's crucifixion and resurrection had been so such a phenomenal story that has impacted the Western world so in such a magnitude way. So I was very conscious about this as well, or curious, because I have been an active Christian, got baptized more than once, and I really wanted to know what truth really meant, because as well I came to certain passages in the scriptures that says the truth is in within you. So I really wanted to understand, well, if we are going by this and thinking that everything written in here is supposed to be literal, then why make the reference for truth to be within me? So, of course, again, there is that so within, so without. So, I have been realizing, especially for the publication or journey of the Crimson Light, 2 volumes that I wrote, wrote and published. I'm just seeing if I've got one here. Through that journey, I recognize that life is a dance. Of course, I do have them here. Okay, and have got to learn to do the dance. And of course, the principle of the dance of life is in this very book when it's written, if you like. But the book itself, and I'm just feeling that I have this guidance of Mother Eve right now, reminding me that the book is really within us. It's our heart and it's our brain. Now, Mother Eve is really having fun with me now. So a book is open like this. And it said, of course, we have the two chambers to our hearts and we have the two hemispheres to our brain. So basically, we can see that these are two. This is very much representing the book of life itself. Now, I speak of two creations in that I have spotted in Genesis, and the two creations also consist of 14 gods, 9 gods from the chapter 1 of Genesis and 5 in chapter 2 of Genesis. Now, these 14 gods, I'll just call them out because the book is written, as much as I say, a mathematical construct, and it is done like very wittingly. It's very, if is that a word, wittingly, perhaps, but it's very witty. And so we have the, when it says God blessed, that's a God of blessing. And God breathe is a God of breath. And God said is obviously the God of sayings, the God of words, and the God of literature and language, the God of saw, the God of sight and soaring, almost like separation, but it actually does the soaring. The God of set, putting some two things together or three things or sets of things together and make and setting a template, having a template or parameter. That's the God set, the God of movement, the God who made, and the God who created. So we have the God who created. Actually, I'm just, this is the thing that's happening very beautifully now. In this position that I have written this, but the God who created actually was the first God who mentioned in the Bible to say, in the beginning, God created. So, the God of causation. So we have the God who caused and the God of calling. So when Adam called, and that was a God of calling, or, or Adam called the animals, whatever names he called them by, that was the God of calling. The God who divided, of course, the God who divided the waters from the waters that was above the waters, and the firmament and the lights and so on. And I believe that God showed up twice in this creation. The God who ended, of course, the God who ended his works, all the work that he had made. So there's an ending. Now, the God who planted and the God who formed. So these are the 14 gods discovered in Genesis, chapter 1 and 2. Now, I have also count their numerical values, and basically all these come up to, this is very interesting. So the numerical value of each god, for instance, the blessed god is 3, the god, the brave god is 9, and I have added all this together comes to the number 78, comes to the number 78. Just bear with me because something else is just calling me here, because the number 78 also showed in a previous presentation I did, but this, I have just noted the corresponding or the correlation here. So what I did here was to count the different letters that were used and how many letters were used in the total. This is very, it's kind of like spooky, because as you can see, this has been done, and if you go through my videos, you might, which is quite a few videos, but you will notice that I have done this, and there's 78 here. This 78 is the letters of the gods. This is the title, or letters of the gods. So that, I believe, would be the corresponding title for the video, letters of the gods, and it's counting how many letters were used. So for instance, 8 A's were used, 2 B's were used, like in blessed and breathed, and 3 C's were used, and so you get the picture. Just not to linger too long on this. And so this is what I mean about the Bible is very mathematical. We can see that the construct is very precise, and I don't know how this was devised, but it's devised so beautifully and very deliciously. But and as I say, it's very witty, because who would think that a blessed God, or the word blessed, would mean one God? But this story, I will tell you, also coincides with the story of Osiris, who was chopped in 13 pieces. And of course, he Set, or the brother, I'm not very how would I say, knowledgeable about the mythical gods so much, but I do know that there's such a story. And so one went or set the brother or sister went and found the penis that was missing, and so stuck it back and then became whole again. So basically, it's like saying that when one has gone through the metamorphosis and become whole again, they become that 14th God, and that encompasses the whole of the creation right here in the scriptures. So that the other correlation here is the story of Jesus Christ with the 12 disciples. So we know that everyone has known about the Last Supper. So it would be Christ, the 12 disciples, that would be 13 people at the table. But we also know that Christ, of course, through the crucifixion, and he had risen 3 days after. The number three is very important to note as well. So after 3 days, he rose again. Be rising again after 3 days. This is where he is also termed as the Christ. After risen from the grave or from death, he is uh, he's referred to as the Christ more in the scriptures. Now, the numerical value for Christ is 5. So, just showing the correlation here. So, when he's risen now, we have to also remember, even on the cross, where he says, "Oh, Father, why hast thou forsaken me?" So, there's always the talk about the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, but Father actually was not present or had seemed absent when Christ was on the cross. So in Christ's perception, it's just him and spirit, or him on his own, whichever it is. But he says, "Oh Father, why hast thou forsaken me?" So this is where we are taught as well, because then that's two. We have to carry our own cross. And the word cross actually equals 20. Every man must bear his cross. This is scripture. Um, so back to when Christ is risen from the grave, then that he becomes the embodiment of all there is. That is the 12 disciples, and of course the 12 disciples plus and he becomes the 14th. So there's the he was 13 and then he becomes the 14th. Now, my mind is just going so much because I'm also remembering the story of Abraham. And Abraham, of course, there would be, he was promised in the promise of he would be the father of many nations, or the father of many nations, we see that, and there is 12 tribes. But we also had the other son, the first son of Abraham, which was born through Haggai, or that means Sarah's maid. And so this was 13 as well. So I'm really thinking while I'm saying this as well, that there's another part to this that I hadn't really given much thought to, that would show the embodiment of 14 right in this story as well. Now, what I also am going back to the scriptures here. So 14 is 1 plus 4 is 5. And so I feel that everything that is we are facing now is getting us to look at the number 20 very closely, which is 2, or even 20 as it were. And number 5, we know we are 6 because we are 6 protons, 6 neutrons, and 6 electrons. And when we add this together, of course, this is the sacrifice template. I'm going to just bring it a bit closer. So adding this together, we have six. Adding this, four, five, six. So they in blocks of threes. And this is really this sacrifice, meaning that is this sacrifice is corresponding with the 3 days of Jesus being in the tomb, so to speak, the 3 days, and of course he rose again on the third day. But this is three, the number three is coinciding right here. So the word sacrifice is of 9 letters. You can see there's a sack, and there's a reef, and there's ice. So, rightly so, nothing is warm about a sacrifice. No one feels really happy when they're saying, oh, I'm sacrificing something because I really want to achieve this, but it's not done pleasurably. Um, we also have added this every digit, of course, and the denomination, or sorry, the total of each hair comes to 369, 369, 369. So that really shows us or determines the pattern for us. This is not something that we just chose to do, it has just presented itself like this. So we can see even the letters that we have in our vocabulary is not just by chance, it has been devised like that. It is really something that has I'm just going to try and bring this a bit nearer. It is something that has been divinely given from some very high intelligence in somehow, or when I say divinely, or however it has been orchestrated, but it's right here. But I also believe that when we tap into this, because it's a live or living book, and I hadn't really made much sense of it when one say it's the book of life, but it's actually very much alive because it really works with your intuition. And that's what I really want to impress upon one, to tap into your intuition, because this is what will guide you into where you need to be, what you need to do, and when and how. This is so important. So, as I said, this is how this was devised. Now you will notice on this sacrifice template. Let me just get something at a pointer. So on this sacrifice template, for instance, on here we have 3, 6, 9 letters, not just 9 letters. Wow. Okay. So this is 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 letters onto this side. 11 also corresponds with the middle um, numbers here, adding 5 plus 6. This will give us 11 right here if we add this together. And 5 plus 6 is, of course, as I say, 11, but 1 plus 1 is 2. So we can see how 2 is, or it's a number that is very dynamic, and it also has this it's able to be apart, but it's also able to come together, um, as in two, and it also looks very much like five. So you can see there's a relational connection there. Now, these numbers here, or these letters, rather, these letters that I've just counted, including W and this BKT, were letters that, while I um, jokingly or amusingly rather arranged these letters just so I could make sense of them and just memorize them, find a way of memorizing them to make sense of them in some way. However, the thought had come, I followed my intuition and realized I could say, well, one, making sense of number one was like doing my jazz. You know, at a very young age, you're one or you're kindergarten, and this is where, of course, corresponding with the S as the serpent that is given to us as a toy because it's flexible. We can move it around, we can do things with it, and this is one. So I call it jazz. And you can also see it ends the hair with the S as well. So we have an S hair and we have an S hair. I'm just feeling to go like this with this table because although I really want to speak on the number 15 a bit more, but I just feel if I explain these these concepts or how this has been devised first, then just to refresh the minds of those who have seen it, because my I know the videos that I recorded, some of them are not very high quality to view, and so also that would, and for those who are new, could also make sense of this. So and A, of course, we have bucket or basket, and we have three for luck, where hence you say three is the magic number. We have four, DVM is development and new. So new was very exciting in the sense because that's what new having new shoes, new clothes, new whatever it is, new house, new car. And it was very exciting because I noticed that not only that it's new, but it is in the center of numbers 1 to 9. So this is five. And then that tells me that the number five is really a number that is, it's like the top of a pyramid. Now, how long you stay on the top of the mountain or whatever it is, it's like the tower rather. And you have something has to give for you to continue your journey because we are in the journey or the dance of life. So as long as we are here, we keep spiraling or evolving into other stages. And then we have forks. I thought, of course, which reminded me of this rhyme in church. And we used to say, Satan is a sly old fox. Satan is a sly old fox. If I catch him, I'll put him in the box. Lock up the box and throw away the key for all those tricks he's played on me. And we'd go on singing. Okay, I know I'm not the best singer, but I just really wanted to give you this. And I'm into embracing what I have. Okay. So, seven, and then we have Gypsy, and of course, Gypsy is on number three here as well, and seven here. Seven, this is denoting the day of completion of ending, and you could see the seven is like a saw, it's cutting. I know I haven't, and the six, of course, I probably should have explained six a bit more because Genesis, we are Genesis. Genesis is 33. Person is 33, people is 33, believe. This is what Christ used to say, Jesus used to say, if you believe, believe, believe. Believe is also 33. When you add this together is 6. Of course, 33, Jesus died at 33. So that really means this is where we were born on the sixth day. So you could say being born on the sixth day, you also died. There was a death that happened because you ended the cycle of being in the womb or being wherever it was, wherever you were, and to be created. And that which we will, I believe we will the we are everything you could think of put together, every creature and everything, all intelligences put together. I think that's what we will. So we died of being scattered around in that sense, or a little bit here or a little bit there, or just, and we came to having a place of reference. So that came into number six. Hence, number six has two sides to it, really. You would see the number six, say, life path person would be a humanitarian. They would love to help. They would love to do things for other people because there's that natural connection with the external as well. Um, and the ability to turn to get to being a nine as well. So we have seven, and I call that gypsy journey. So gypsy journey, of course, seven seem to be very rigid and stand still, but there is also the aspect of seven that is that can be turned upside down, like I have. So seven may decide, because he rested on the seventh day. So if he rested, he probably was not just standing still, he probably had taken a rest this way in the L shape. And I believe that that's what this L shape. So this is showing a sense of wholeness, that um one had ended something and began something else. So ended the work and rested. So then there's a sense of wholeness. There's the polarities that came together. You are tired and you rest. You're thirsty, you drink. You go up, you come down. So this would be for me the symbol seven of cutting. This is where the soaring. So it's no wonder the word saw also equals seven, and of course to see, and so there's the sight connection to it as well. And turning the word saw backward would be was. So you can see the element of movement or turnings backward would be there. And God was, or they was, or there was. So there we are. Now, there we have number 8, which is headquarters zone. And headquarters zone here is very important, very important, because everything you do, this is the construct of our society. When I say that this is a manual that we are reliving, and basically we may think this is very far-fetched to how we can relate to it, but it's very present. And so number 8, a headquarters zone, is basically you have done your work, you may rest, but you have to go to headquarters to give or file your annual returns to the inland revenue. So you need to have this connection. If you will, if you created something, for instance, and you rested, you may need to have it registered to get there's the word a patent, I think is the word. You'd have to have it uh, you'd have to have a safety check. So that means that is on headquarters. It has to be approved. So headquarter zone is the place of approval, but this, of course, does not stay there. And for you to have this approval, of course, you need to pay taxes to the inland revenue. Now, this may sound like it's not scriptural, but trust me, it's very scriptural. When I hope I would be able to show you in this video, and perhaps not, but when you see the lettings or anything that I have seen, I have done on Mother Eve's lettings or letters, you will be able to see that this is very much present today. So basically, we have 26 letters here. 2 plus 6 is 8. Now, this is where we see 8 is really, we see 8 here is really crucial to our makeup, because in Mother Eve's lettings, and I'm just going to see if I have with me Mother Eve's lettings, is that when she says, "Let there be light," and there was light. And then we have, okay, let the waters bring forth gushing waters. No, let the waters from be divided. I don't have the whole list here with me now, but let there be a firmament, and let the waters be gathered or divided from the waters above the waters, and so on. Let the earth bring forth fruit or abundant. It wasn't fruit then. Um, Okay, but there were 8 lettings, and I will cover this again in other videos, but I have covered it in other videos as well. And having those lettings, it's like the businesswoman who lets, she has letters. The letters are contracts, and you can see again the word con like a boa constructor, is like like a serpent, a snake. That element is in the language. So that's the play that we have with this very story. So there's the letters. So it's like having all these letters to the gods, or like I have explained. Suppose they, like for instance, what we are going through, and if there were like something major, or like the hospital, for instance, that are accommodating people or nursing people right now. So for the government, who has a higher position than the people in the hospital, he still has to go, or the mayor, for instance, still have to liaise with the person, the head of health, or to say, of Minister of Health, to say, how many beds have we got? How can we handle this? What do you think we need to do this? Because he, although realizes or knows that he is of a higher position, but he is not the specialist in that area. So he has to now, of course, even respect even the nurse who comes, who says, okay, oh, this is happening or whatever. And he has to acknowledge that yes, they're accountable to him, but he has to adhere to whatever they are giving, or whatever information they are giving, to make things happen, to heal people, and so on. Now, these Latins, they were eight, but on the eighth Latin is the last Latin, of course, where Mother Eve says, because I say Mother Eve because whenever we saw and God said, we are talking about the God of sayings, the God of wisdom in the Bible, when stated that the serpent was in the garden and the wisest of all creatures. So this is the said God, the serpent. And the serpent who was the one, um, getting my trail of thought here. So yes, so is the wisest of all creatures, who would now say, okay, you have the contracts, I give you a contract, I give you a contract. But now let us make man in our image, after our likeness. Now this is not this us. This is the only place that it changes from let there be, or let the. And so in the word there, I have showed this before. Um, in the word there, THERE, we have the. We also have he. We also have he. And we also have her. So we also have her. So let there be is really one of the most important words in the spells. I call these spells that Mother Eve had. And this also equals 11. So basically, this is saying that let there be, whatever is there is also here. Whatever is over there is also present here, because we have here there, and we have he, and we have her. So to think that even from that, from here, that people are saying that, oh, and that Eve was um born from Adam, or how we have understood it, we would be able to see from here that both male and female in this word was also present. Everything was present here, here and there, and he and her, and that was also already speaking of opposites and polarities and so on. Okay, so this comes to 11. This also tells us about, it indicates two sets of gods, or so on. I am really wanting to get this. Okay, yes, I think I've got it here. So we have three of these Latins or letters. Now the Latins and letters as well also coincide with the word let is a letter, but having that reverse, we call the teller. You could, it's like transactions are happening right there as well. So the God of words is the God who tells. She speaks, and the God of she's the God of words, and so there's the teller as well. So you can imagine you're doing the transaction. This is where again I believe all the word teller and letters. So all contracts are happening, all transactions are taking place right there. So we have let there be, let there be. We have this three times in this seven, among these eight Latins. So we have this three times. And we have let the waters, we have this twice. And let the earth, we also have this twice. Um, let the we have this three times. So we see the number three is very important here as well. But the let here the word there is also, it also comprises the word three, because we only have to shift this letter E in the middle and put to the end, and it's also the word three. So we can see there's a lot of dynamics taking place. It's doing the dance, because the serpent is not just like this. The serpent is, it coils and curls, and it's very sly, and it slimes and so on. It changes its skin, and there's all those things we need to bear in mind to find or balance in the dance of life. And so on the eighth is where we taught, let us make man in our image after our likeness. And this is what I feel. I have done this video from 2017 where I spoke about this is the time we are moving into the us ship. I have a video on this as well. I call it us ship, because this is where we are creating or being co-creators with the divine. And being co-creators with the divine is really getting the full specs, if you like, of what we are meant to create. But to do this, it's so important that we understand the root of where we have been, the root, which is why I'm saying the root of Genesis, which is where I'm delving in. Most people are delving into Revelation, because when something is being revealed, it's fine, but you are perhaps looking through a mirror, for instance, which is all well and good. But looking in the mirror, I have to say, okay, right now, am I facing this way or that way? Or is it a mirror, or is it the reflection? So I may see someone's left hand. If I don't work it out, I may think that I'm watching their right hand, where their right hand when it's their left hand. So I'm just saying, I feel really delving into, digging deep into Genesis chapter 1 to 3, but I've been more in chapter 1 to really get the full essence of this module, that this um, manual that we have been given. So let us make man in our image after our likeness. And then it is said, and God made man after his own image and likeness. This is the word again that really spells volume. The own, the word own, and I have got videos on this as well. So let's just so God made man in his own, OWN. Now, bear in mind that I do speak about the gods of two sets of 14 gods. So, but own is representing seven. So if we do the numerical value here, which is seven, sorry, 655. And I always see the fives as Mother Eve, but this is 16. 1 plus 6 is 7, which reminds me of the tower card in the tarot. Now, seven, of course, is Seven. And if when we do the numerical value for seven, it's 1, 5, and it has got Mother Eve in the middle. So it is very important that we understand the construct of this hair. The S at the end, at the beginning of seven, is indicative of Mother Eve. It's her nature. It's like saying, yeah, the serpent is right here, and the serpent is Eve. Now, if you were to take off the S, you see we have even. So the serpent is the one who evens things up. This is why we are here to learn through experience, to learn the dynamics of the serpent and to even um, our construct or our perception of reality. So the serpent is here to help us do that. And this is Eve. Okay, so we have 4, 5, 5. Adding this together gives us 20. So we can see how 2020 is really playing out in our society right now because we have two sets of sevens, that's the 14 gods. Now, he made man in his own image and likeness. This means when you own something or you have it, you've owned, it's like he owned the contract. So to say, okay, you make man in your own image, not really to say that Mother Eve said that, but just look at it on a business level. This is what our world has been shaped on, has been, if you like, manipulated. Whatever is happening, that's how it is. This one owns this church, they own this organization, they own the school, the education, or the government owns this, or whoever, everyone owns something, or they own a house. And of course, everything comes from another place before they can own it. So when one owns it, then it becomes, but to own this, you need to have it. And to have it means you are now, you have got to be present. There's the NOW now. And then the next thing, of course, to be present before you can own or be present and own it, whichever one you want to look at comes before the other. So one owns something, it means they are present with it. Now, so we could see they are present with it. The next thing is that they have won, or you could say they won the contract. I think I'm doing this the other way around. Let's see. Yes, they done in his own image and likeness. So to have made man in his own image and likeness, he would have had to won the contract. He won the contract. So this is seven. And then he owned, OWN, owned. This is where he made man in his own image and likeness because he won the contract and was able to make man in his own image and likeness. And then we have one own and now. Okay, now. Now is, and this is where I believe we're at now. So because this is new, hold on, NOW. Okay. And yeah, because backward we have here is New World Order. I've done this before in a way that so it's New World Order backward. Um okay. So one. Okay. So it's basically this let's see, New World Order. Okay, so we can see, however, these are the same letters that are being used right now to control the mass right now. So basically there's the present, which is which may be seen as the gift of that we have been given. Now remember, we are in 2020. The word 7 comes to 20. So in this present time now, this is being turned to this here. These are the same letters. And to have this 20, 20. Now, I don't want to make this much longer, but I really want to show how artificial intelligence has been um, has played out a huge role in this. But before I go on with this, let's go back to where I began this with the Genesis of chapter, the first book of Genesis. So we have seen on these right here, the main thing is that the new man, which is meant to be created right here, I also want to show how the new world order comes in as well, which takes us to this side. So this side is the strong side. I will make um, another video to show how this new world order is going to shape through this numerology chart. However, I want to really emphasize number 5 here and number 6, which is 6 plus 5, which is 11, which coincides with the word Jesus. Jesus is 11. Anytime we see this is a master number, and I think I just showed as well the word there. We see that coincides as well with Jesus. And so basically, we are now requested to um, make man in our own image and likeness. This is not all about AI. We all have a responsibility here. Now, with Mother Eve, I'll just wrap this up with the waters, because Mother Eve is also the water. Water is related to words. It has the same current. It's about current and flow. And we see that there's a strong correlation. Um, yeah, so I have this Bible, of course, as I said, it's Genesis is 43, but the Bible was written in 1446 and 1406 BC. Now, 1446 equals 10, 14, 15. So we see this is 15. If we add 3 5s here, so this is really saying that's a demarcation of something new. This is new. NEW. We see 15 is here. 5, 10, 15. And of course, 1 plus 5 is 6. So this is why we have 6 right here. And then we have the next one is 1406. 1406. So this is 10, 11. And this is what I just spoke about. So it's important that we just make note of this. If we add now, so I have already showed this 15 here, which coincides with this column, the new 5, 10, 15, because that's the numerical value for each of these letters here, NEW. We have this corresponding with 15 right here. Then we have 1406 corresponding, this is 11. If we add again the same column, 5 plus 6 gives us 11. So can we see how as well that everything is so clearly orchestrated right here, or divinely, however we want to put it, and it also mirrors the 11 letters onto this side, which is so much to explore on here, because I have done some work on this already. And so why 11? Why is this 11 moving onto this side here? I want you to pay to really pay attention to this. I'm like a little teacher with the school. Please pay attention. Okay, so we have 6, 7, 8, 9, because I want to really do or show in the next video with Sophia the robot, and how these numbers here, which we will not permitted to interfere with, but how it's used um, to really create man in their own image and likeness, or our own image and likeness, and how this 11 comes about. And 11 here as well is coinciding with the name Jesus, as I have said. So when they said we shall name him Jesus, is 15131. Adding this together, this is 6 plus 4 is 10 plus 1, 11. Now, the beautiful thing about this as well, when we do the numerical value for the word Eleven, you notice that the Eve is right in the middle, just as in the number 7. Eve is right here. Just as, and she is again saying, I am here to even things up. I'm here to show you how to even things up, how to do the dance of life, how to love yourself and love your neighbor as yourself, and how to. But this is not always coming in the way that we feel it should, like sugar and spice. No, and everything nice. No, it often happens like, well, did God say that you if you eat of the apple that you shall surely die? And no, you won't surely die. You know, the truth is there. It's like, you need to discover the goodness for yourself. And it may not really come in a certain way that you expect. So we can see how 11 shows up here. If we did the numerical value for the word 11, so basically, before I did that, I probably, okay, it's done already. So it's 3, 5, 4, 5, 5. This is 10, this is 19, this is 22, 27. 2 plus 7 is 9. So we can see that the function of hair, this is why it is said, when you are in Christ, in the scriptures, when you are in Christ, you are a new creature. This new creature is in a position to move to number 9. 9 hair or 9 hair. There's also 9 hair. But you are in a position to really get to 9. If we did the numerical value for the word 9, it would give us 6. But you are in a position to go to 9, to the end right here, which is the inland revenue. So basically, this is very important. And it's no wonder the story of Christ is more or less teaching us that this is the cycle. This is the cycle that is, as if this is the cycle that's required of you to really do, to find yourself. This story has two sides to it, because this very story has been used to manipulate others. And it's important that we find the flip side of the coin to understand who we are paying our dues to in this inland revenue. What is it we are prepared to pay, or what we are paying? So I feel I'm just going to go with this because it's just about rhythm as well, and flow. And I was saying, for instance, with the robot Sophia, um, which I may still have to do this again. Sophia is also, there is two, Sophia could also be spelled with an F, but we can see that the robot is not spelled like this because it is purposefully this way. Okay. And but this intelligence go way back. So it's 117891. So just to have a look at this, oh, this is 6. This is 6. And so I want you to see how these are corresponding, 6, 7, 8, 9. And Sophia is corresponding to this cycle right here. So it's 6, 7, 8, 9 right here. The A, 6, 7, 8, 9, and of course there's one at the end that has the corresponding number to hang on to, the two ones. So basically it's like the story of Jesus, if you like, and all these things that happened or events or whatever is in the middle, and of the two ones. This is when the Christ happens. Okay, so we have 11 letters here, 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. And we see here is the same numbers, 5 plus 6, that comes to 11. That's like how Emmett Fox would say, nothing can happen without it has something else like itself on which to attach itself to. So it can reflect itself here. So the 11 is being reflected here. And we can see that the only letter here within the new that gives that anchor to go onto this side here is the W. The W here is a formation, we could say, of the 2 7 gods. If we look at how the W is, let's see if I could bring this a bit nearer. Okay, so 7 is really like this, but it's really, so we could say 7 is here. This is 7. It depends on how you choose to, what angle you are looking at the 7 from, because that's what creation is about. So this is 7. It's W. It's two of you. It's two of me. And that's what the gods are. So, and there's the other 7 here. So these two gods come together. They are in unity. This is the only place in this template that you will find the two gods working harmoniously. Hence, Paul said in the scriptures, renew your minds. It's important that we renew our minds. In renewing our minds, we come into this column that can take us into this hierarchical position, because you can see the hierarchical position is corresponding to 6, 7, 8, 9 right here. This is why the people in this hierarchy right here are able to control these people here. Why are they able to control people here? What do they do here? Because they have one. The one is here. It has a relationship here. You can't speak to someone if you don't understand their language, or they don't understand your language. And so you can see one, and one is corresponding here. One is corresponding here. We have the S here, which is the serpent, Mother Eve, and that's the other side of the serpent as well. And this is what creation does. It mimics, we mimic things, or we create, or whatever it is, and that's what's important for us to pay attention to. So S here for Sophia here, which is mimicking, of course, we see this is happening in a big way, that masses of people are congregating to listen to Sophia, and not realizing that they are giving Sophia all their vibration. What you give your attention to is what you become. And can you imagine, with thousands of people in a in a arena, and these robots are there. They are actually sapping all the energy and information that they need by interacting with Sophia, and that's what's happening here. So they have this one they can hinge onto through hair. Now, the other thing that's so important to note, because they have that position here, this is where the basket of food and fish and whatever it is, and I call it Kentucky Fried Chicken. This is what a lot of people who are in position of the have, they like to feed other people. They like to give them other things. When you feed people, you are in agreement with them. This is what number two is about. This is where, especially with the B letter, and please watch my other videos, anything you get on bread or bucket or bees or anything like that, because the bee is where it's symbolic of the sacrifice itself, where this is it, where Christ was 13 and the disciples, they were 13. It was 13. This is it. But when you come into agreement with someone and you are sharing food, or you sit at the table having the same meal, you all sit at the table, you are all equal then. You are all equal. So the bond, the equal sign, two dashes for equal sign, forms the bond. This is how the bread is, and this is the B for bread when Christ says, let's break bread. So break, when he says, let us break bread, or he broke the bread, meaning he is making a distinction that there is 13 people at the table. Break bread. There are two B's. So there's, and of course in creation it's like saying two bees. This is 13 is the God, the he. When we speak of God and it's he, he equals 13, and he made man in his own image and likeness. And so you see there's another creation as well, the number 13. So this is the number of the, it's the deaf number, the deaf card, and but the word deaf equals 20, and which is 2. But if you did the numerical value for the word 2, let's doing the numerical value for the word 2 is 256. This equals 13, and this is what I call the incubator. This is where when two people or group or whatever comes together, and there is it's like the bees, they work hard and to die for the queen bee, and that's what is happening here with number two. And this is showing you in number two, there is a W here. It's saying, we reflecting each other to become whole. This is the T is like the cross, and two people have to come together, reflect each other to become whole. When you become whole, this is the template or what you need to aspire to. And of course, after Christ died and rose from the dead, he becomes the embodiment of all the 12 disciples. We learn about the other disciples, about Thomas and other disciples, but I'm talking about the story, how it has been written and how it has been served in this book as a manual, a numerical construct that this Western world really works on. And we can see with seven, as I said, the seven gods. So when we do the numerical value for seven, it's 20, and we are in 2020. So the two gods are very much alive right now. The two sets of gods are very much alike, alive now as the W. This is why we are in a new world order right now. NEW. So new world. If we had to go for world, let's see. WOR, WORLD. So basically, the world would have, it's like almost having the hand in everything. So there would be the L, which is very important because the free is that energy. You can see three is very much like the W as well, because it is very dynamic. It becomes a three, it becomes an E, it becomes W and M. So this in itself is very much the world, if you like, W. And this would mirror the W right here. We have the M here as well, which is upside down, like a W upside down. But we have D, so we can see like 2020, two twos are four. So we are basically, whatever is happening, we are going back to this. It's happening here, the New World Order, to start having a new development here. I believe this is where we are heading to in this column, which is number 4. This is the development here. So we are starting again at number 3. This is 3. Now, and we could see elation, because I have this here. It's like there will be a set of people who are going to feel elated in this sense. But we can see E, although coming into this column here, we have Eve here in Revelation. So having Eve here can always still help us reveal. There's not an A here, but or revel. We can still revel in whatever it is that we are choosing to do, because we still have Mother Eve E to help us navigate on either side. I am so hoping you can see this here. I just want to ensure you do. Yeah. So just to recap, it's basically when you are in Christ, you are this new creature here. 5 plus 6 is 11. 11 is that which you are starting. We see Sophia has 1 on either side. S is the numerical value of 1 and A at the end. So this 1 is serving as a hinge to hinge back on her, mimicking or having that sacrifice reflection, if you like, because it's making man in our image after our likeness. So this is really mimicking Mother Eve's attributes. And I think, yes, it's modeled after one of the mythical gods as well. So here we are with the 6, 7, 8. As I say, I felt that there was almost a power holding my hand not to shift any of these letters, and I just went along with it quite smoothly. So this W here is a representation of the 2 sets of 7 gods right here. Oh, I was looking for, okay. So this is the 7 gods. This is a 7 this way and another 7 this way. And because we are of the 14 gods, we are the embodiments of the 14 gods. We can see we are right here in the middle. This is when you understand, because it's all about understanding and perception. And this is why it is said when you accept Christ. So it's accepting the Christ spirit within you. What is the Christ spirit within you? For me, it is really having a understanding about having a Kundalini activation in a purposeful and meaningful way, and connecting with the cosmos. So this to me, you have that serum that rises from the base of your spine and opening your third eye. So we are talking about opening the third eye. And in Genesis, in Matthew as well, the teachings of Jesus Christ speaks on this as well, and it says, if thy eye be single, then thy whole body be light. And so it means that if your eye is single, the single eye is here. And this is why it speaks about God's the scripture speaks about this kundalini. But can you tell this to anyone who does not really practice or believe in this? So that's really another thing. And so back to Sophia, we could see how the hierarchy, if we could say, or AI, just to be more oh, I also did something on AI. So we could see 1 9. And this is also AI, even in abbreviation, is coinciding perfectly with sacrifice. Am I making this up? No. So this is very important that we pay attention to this. Now, if we also look at 2020 that we are in, this is the word 20 comes to 8. And if we add two eights together comes to 16. I have worked out 16 a while ago, and this is 7. 7 is also denoting the sixth day of creation and the day of rest right here. This is also telling us that we are in a new creation. There's a new creation happening. I also read something about, I think it's on the 2nd of April, which was 244. Just the year is 4. So this is 10, and 10 is really like it's like rebooting, if you like. It's rebooting, and that's what is happening. So there is something that they have introduced, um, Sophia's siblings or younger siblings, or something that they're going to teach children how to code. And I have to revisit this statement, how to teach children how to code. So basically, we'll to have that happening, it's like you as an adult perhaps in the next few years won't be able to say anything. You'll have children really telling you what to do, because they are coded with whatever information they have. Yeah, so this also coincides with other videos that I have done on number 14, because, well, this is what I hadn't really touched on. So if you notice that the number 14 has been very pinnacle, that in 1446, was it 1446 or 14? Yes, 1446, but 14 is really a number here. That's when the book of Moses was written. And we have 14 as um, 14 equals 5. And we also, I didn't do this check on Sophia, but Sophia is 32. So 32 is also 5. And in direct correlation with Christ, Christ is also 5. So I have done those numbers before, and this also coincides with Pope Francis. So do watch the video on Pope Francis, because he is Pope Francis equals 14, and he is the 266th Pope. That equals 14. And the date he's going to sign, they're going to sign the, it's called the Global. So the date for the Global Educational Pact is on the 14th. And the date itself does add up to the 14th. And as I say, so there are 4 aspects of 14s happening right there. So it's as if the gods are showing up in this 4, in your north, your south, your east, and west. No, no escape. Okay. All right. So I'm going to end this here. And I know I'm going to have to revisit this because there's a lot more to this information. So do join me again. Thank you for this, for your time. This is a long video. I do acknowledge that, but this is information that you do not get anywhere else on YouTube. I haven't seen it. If you have, please let me know, because it's always good to know that there are other like-minded people or minds. So yes, how good it is to be able to see. This is now, we are in this 2020 vision, and we are now unpacking things. But let me also remind you that it's also the time, because 20 is the death. It equals death. If we did the numerical number for the word death, I'm gonna have to just do another video on 20 that way, so people understand the meaning of it. So DEATH, this is 4, 4, 5, 1, 2, 8. And if we add this together, this is 10, this is 20. So here we see that this is very important to serve as, and that's why we have so many deaths as well. It is this dying is everything that we are experiencing. It's biblical, and this is from Genesis. And I just wanted to also just close with the the 20th verse as well, which is when let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creatures that have life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of the heavens. Now we are seeing as well that there's a life that is coming out, like all the creatures are very much alive as well. And in fact, this is just after the fourth day. So this is what I'm saying. I'm seeing that we are moving into this developmental stage. And of course, verse 21, it says, and God created great whales. But this life came in this, this is the command that came at that time. It didn't just happen. It says let. Yeah, in 20. So this is when you call out what it is you want, and God said, the God of words says, makes the demand and say, let the waters is words and rhythm and all anything that flows. So let your words be something that you can use to for life and for death, but just be mindful of which that you are doing. So thank you. And I am so appreciative of you watching this video and supporting this channel. And please subscribe and look out for more videos. There'll be more on Sophia as well, and the number 14, the number 20, because everything is synchronizing as clockwork, so to speak. And I do hope you are keeping safe in all of it. So stay ignited, and namaste.